Hey there, 5-minute video, part 5. Let's just keep on rolling. So I ended the previous video quoting Jesus, where he says, "The poor you will always have with you," and I talked about one way that he meant that. I wanted to talk about another way he meant it, and then something he didn't mean. Because a lot of times I hear people say, well, when Jesus says the poor you will always have with you, what he meant was, why bother, right? Why waste your time trying to take care of the poor? They're always going to be there. That's not what he meant. He's actually quoting a verse in Deuteronomy where God commands the Israelites to care for the poor, that they would not be tight-fisted, but that they would be open-handed towards the poor. And then he says, for the poor you will always have with you. And that's actually more, I look at it like this. This is how my analogy. When I was young in Texas growing up, my chore was always mowing the grass. And it would be like as if my father were to say to me, Keith, you're always going to have to mow the grass. There's always going to be grass to mow, right? And for me to take that statement to mean, oh, good, that means why bother mowing the grass? No, that isn't correct. In other words, the job will never be finished. It's your chore. It's your responsibility. You're always going to have to take care of this. And so it means more like that. It's not like saying, oh, why bother? It's saying this is always going to be something that will be laid at your feet, and that God will expect you to do something about it. That's why Jesus says to the disciples, when they notice that the people are hungry and want to send them away, and Jesus says, no, you give them something to eat. It is our responsibility. Anyway, I just want to throw that in there. The other thing I wanted to say is that, unfortunately, one of the things I've learned is that you can only help people that want help. And you can only give them the kind of help they will receive from you. There was the story in the scriptures where there's the man who's lame, who's laying by the pool of Siloam, and Jesus comes to him and asks him, do you want to be made well? Well, it seems like an obvious question, but it isn't. Some people don't want you to take away their addiction. They like it. Some people don't want you to take away their poverty. They like it. In other words, and it's sad to say this, but it is. I've experienced this, where people, they just want $20. They don't want a job. They don't want you to teach them how to code computers so that they can go get a job somewhere. Okay, they just want a sandwich. Okay, and that's all they want. And so you need to, first of all, understand that people want. You can only help people who want help, and you can only help them in the way they will receive help, right? So if the person wants a sandwich and I want to give them a skill, well, we're stuck because they don't want a skill. They don't want a job. They want a sandwich or $20 or whatever it is. And you need to also then understand that that's an opportunity. In other words, it shouldn't be a deal breaker to you that, oh, that guy just wants $20. I'm going to move on to the guy who wants a job. In other words, I've only got one position. I'm only doing one thing, and that's helping people get jobs, for example. And then you're just going to run around until you find the guy who says, I want job. Oh, good, because that's all I'm doing is helping people find jobs. I mean, you can do that, and people do that. And if that's the way you want to approach it, go ahead. But I don't think that's the way Jesus approaches things. I think Jesus meets people where they are. And some people just want a cigarette. Now, you may say, man, it's not good for you to smoke cigarettes. But the guy standing there says, you have a cigarette? Man, I'd kill for a cigarette. I don't smoke. But I've gone to buy cigarettes for people who said, man, I just want a cigarette. And you know why? So I could stand there with them. I could hand them a pack of cigarettes, which is what they were asking for. I can bless them with that need. And then we can stand there and I can talk to them. What's your name? How'd you end up on the street? Tell me your story. Let me tell you my story. Right? And so, in other words, if all you're doing is providing the help you want to give people, rather than helping people the way they want help or the way they will receive it, you're missing a huge opportunity. And I know for a lot of people that's controversial. What I just said is like, oh, Keith, I can't believe you'd buy a pack of cigarettes for somebody. Well, I have. If somebody came to me and said, man, I really need a beer, I might buy them a beer. I mean, I'm not saying as a rule, always do that, okay? But I am saying have some discernment in the moment to say, you know what? If the only way I'm going to engage with this person is for this moment to help them the way they want help, it allows me to say to them, I'm listening to you. I see you. I hear what you're saying. I sympathize with the fact that right now this is the one thing you want most of all. And so then I can begin a dialogue with them. It doesn't mean every time I see them, I'm going to give them a pack of cigarettes, okay? I'm not going to become their supplier. But it means in that moment, I'm willing to meet them where they are. I believe that's what Jesus would do. Meet them where they are and begin a conversation with them and a dialogue with them that will hopefully lead to something down the road that helps them see that really what they need and what they want are two different things. Because what they want might be $20, but you might be able to get them to a place where they would say, but what they need is some stability. What they need is to be able to provide for their own needs. In fact, what they need might be, and what they want, hopefully one day will be, as it says in the New Testament, that not only would they be able to provide for their own needs, but they would be able to, on top of that, in a heart of compassion, like Christ, care for other people who are in difficult situations. That's really taking a huge step, helping them get beyond their looking at themselves and their own need, to recognize, well, you know what, not only could I do a little bit maybe to help myself, maybe I could help somebody else. And now suddenly their effort has even more value, has even more eternal significance and meaning, and draws them nearer to the heart and the character of Christ. Anyway, we have a long way to go. I'm not sure how long this series is going to be, but thanks for listening, and we'll talk again. God bless. Bye-bye.